Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the link below in order to find out more.
Our battery I got from my dad while I'm doing some work with my solar panels, and got it balancing now, just put it on. Using pretty... It's not drawing too much current, it's pretty full, so I'm going to let it sit for an hour and it's not a load tester. It's going to be interesting to see what this battery does, because I know it's been abused quite a lot, but it is a sealed battery. It is a very cheap battery from a low price store, but it could still be in reasonable condition. I don't think it's very old. It could be from 2008 or so. I think it's a 68 amp hour battery when it was new, so if it's at anywhere near that, it could be a good addition to the battery bank. And there we go. I just turned the current limit down to 0, turning the balance, putting it into the balancing operation after maybe 2.5 hours. It's a pretty long time to balance a sealed battery, but I know this battery has been sitting kind of empty. It's been pretty abused throughout its life, so I think it'll do it more good than bad to get a very thorough balancing and overcharge done, and it seems to be holding up the voltage pretty good, sitting at 13.7 volts still after being disconnected for a number of seconds. Coffee's done. Yeah, anyway, now I've just got to dig the load out and give it a bit of a run. Now I'll just do the thing we should never do, which is to have banana plugs, loose banana plugs hooked up to a car battery. Plug them in there, nice and easy, and press the go button. Dropping pretty fast. Let's see where it stabilises. Shouldn't take too long to reach that stage at this rate. Pretty high internal resistance on this thing. Yeah, probably gonna stick somewhere around 12.2, 12.15 or so. Wonder if it'll manage to actually push the voltage back up, as a healthy battery should do. Come on. Looks like it isn't planning on doing that. Pretty close though. And that'll be the end of that test. £20 voltage going steadily up, so gonna let this stabilise, put it in my chart and charge it back up again. Battery's a bit warm, even. It's got such a high internal resistance. Anyway, with a bit of luck, I can get this capacity up just a little bit by cycling it again. At least I hope so. Alright, so battery has been charging overnight for maybe 12-13 hours or so, and it's been equalising again for the last 1.5 hours or so. And it's using a bit less current today than it did yesterday, which is a good sign. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do another discharge capacity test. Voltage slowly dropping, as you'd expect. So we'll see what happens when we turn the load on. And start the timer. That looks to be holding up a bit better than it did yesterday. I think it dropped below 13 volts pretty quickly. Granted, it's dropping pretty fast today as well. But I'm gonna let this run now. I'm pretty optimistic that I'm gonna get more than 19 amp hours out of it, which is what I got yesterday, since it's using, I think it was sitting at about 700 milliamps. I took it off the equalizing charge yesterday and now it's using 500, so the cells should be more fully charged this time round. And if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around this time it was down to 12.2 volts. But that could just be my memory acting up. Anyway, we'll find out. Just gotta let this run. Okay, this is a definite improvement. The voltage is actually going back up this time round. And since this is such a crappy battery, so to speak, it's not very big at all, so I think I'm gonna just keep on balancing and cycling this thing until I get 2 or 3 cycles when I don't get any capacity improvement at all. So that I can get kind of an idea about how many cycles it takes for a battery like this, which has been pretty abused. It's been stored half empty and overcharged quite a few times in this day. And just to get an idea how much work it takes to get that kind of battery back to a stable maximum spec. It's obviously never going to be new again, but there's going to be a point where it doesn't get any better. So, let's find out. And it appears that we have gained exactly nothing. So, I'm gonna stop that, charge it up, balance it, give it another go. So while we didn't really get too much more capacity out of the battery this cycle, it's definitely changed characteristics, because it recovered to 2.22 volts this time around, whereas it only recovered to 11.912 the last time. So something's happened. So it's strange that we'd only get 19 amp hours seeing this. It's as if it does have more capacity, but it's got a higher internal resistance. But on the other hand, since the voltage was higher in the beginning, that would tell us that it's got a lower internal resistance. So something weird is going on. Perhaps the undercharged cells have improved and the other ones have become worse. Alright, it's charged up again. I put it on balancing the moment I got out of bed, and it pretty much dropped down to half an amp right away, and it's been sitting at 0.45 or thereabout for maybe half an hour now, so I think this battery is pretty fully charged by now. I had it on 13.8 volts maintenance charge overnight, and I charged it at 14.7 volts for quite a while before that, until the current dropped down to maybe a couple hundred milliamps. So this battery should be about as full as it gets now. So let's do another cycle and see if we can get something to happen. That behaviour we saw before was quite interesting, so I'm very curious to find out what it's going to do now. Oh, need my timer. There we go. Current shut on, timer starting. So let's see how low the voltage is going to drop. Looks pretty good so far, still way above 13 volts. I don't really trust these clamps. I've had some pretty, shall we say, hot issues. There we go, below 13 volts. It stabilised at around 12.4 volts the last time, so we should expect to see something above that if it's improved. But I'm kind of skeptical that it has. And it indeed does seem to be dropping quite fast. So maybe the internal resistance isn't going to be a whole lot better this time, but perhaps we'll get a bit more capacity out of it. I honestly have not the slightest clue about what's going to come out of this cycle. It's going to be very interesting to see. It's probably going to stabilise somewhere around 12.4 volts this time as well. There we go, it just turned around and started going back up, so I think it was somewhere around 12.42 the last cycle, and now it's 12.45, so that is a bit of a step up, a little tiny bit of improvement. And we've just got to see how far up it'll climb. Who knows, maybe it'll climb back up to 12.5. Although I kind of doubt that. We'll see. There we go, it's starting to go back down again. 12.467. That is definitely a bit better than before. So we do have a marginally better internal resistance now. Marginally. They say that idiocy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And it certainly seems that's what we're doing right now. So let's quit this. Charge it back up and cycle it again. It's kind of astounding how it can actually maintain such consistent results, really. It's done 19 amp hours on the spot every time. So, guess that's a good thing. I'll quote it as a reference battery. Alright, I've balanced it one more time and I've let it sit on maintenance charging for a few hours because I had to do stuff. So let's give this battery another cycle. This might be the last one I bother with because the change we saw the last time was pretty small. But who knows, I might come to the realisation that I might want to do another one either way, so it's still anyone's game. I doubt we'll get more than 19 amp hours out of it this time either. Well, we do have still a bit higher voltage, lower internal resistance, over 12.5 volts this time, and rising. So, at least something's happening. Words are unnecessary. Alright, so after 4 cycles I'm pretty confident this battery will never be more than 19 amp hours. Well, 19.5 was the absolutely best number I could get out of it, so I think I'm just gonna turn the equalization charge off and give it a little bit of a quick dab with the load in order to just see how much the voltage drops, and maybe take a quick peek of a video I shot back then and compare how much the voltage drops in the first couple of seconds. Alright, so I just did a quick review of my video footage, and the first cycle, when I done the first balancing run on this battery, it dropped to about 12.2 volts in 1.5 minutes. So let's see what it does now. I'm pretty confident we'll be way above that. It also dropped below 13 volts in just a few seconds. And there we go. Now at the 1.5 minute mark, after all that work, we're seeing over 12.5 volts, which is a considerable improvement. This battery could probably crank over a car. Gonna stop this, don't need it anymore. Wow, shot over 12.7 volts and climbing. So we have seen a considerable improvement in its performance by just cycling it a few times and balancing it. And I'm fairly impressed by the performance of this battery. I expected it to be going straight to the junk, really. That's why I've been cycling it so many times. I was expecting it to get worse and worse by every cycle, since it's just been very abused. But this battery, wow, look at that, over 13 volts. This battery might actually be usable. I might just throw it into the battery bank. I'm kind of curious as to how it measures up to my current testing battery, which I'm sitting on. Might have to do some cycling on that one as well. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go outside and try and crank over a car with this thing, just for the heck of it. Alright, we are now inside my 1990 Volvo 740 with a 2.3 litre petrol engine with almost no compression, so it's usually a pretty easy engine to crank over. Sadly, despite being a large car, the battery didn't fit inside the hood, so it's just jumpered in, which isn't going to make things easier for it. My jumper leads aren't the best ones, but anyway, I've disconnected the fuel injectors to make things a bit more interesting, and I've put my meter in crest mode, so now I'm going to put my meter in crest mode, so that we'll see the instantaneous lowest and highest voltage of the battery. Yeah, P equals 3.41, yeah right. Anyway, here we go. That's pretty good cranking. Wow, that's pretty good. Well, this voltage is 10.5 volts, and we're way low at the end of that long jumper cable. Let's put it in live mode again. Min max average. I'm not complaining about a battery that'll do this to a car like this. I mean, come on. Okay, I'm not gonna burn out my starter. That's pretty good. Just going back up. What was our minimum voltage? Let's see. Minimum 11 volts. Ha! There's probably a bit of heat going on there. A lot more heat going on around here. And I don't even want to think about the poor starter. So yeah. I'd say that's a pretty successful restoration, even though we never got more than about 20 amperes out of it. It's a strong battery despite that. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even learned a thing or two about batteries. I definitely learned some stuff, and I got a decent battery out of it. So, better get going.